Hi guys, it's me, Elise Martinez, with this week's silhouette tutorial. This week we're going to take some of the elements that we have learned in the previous weeks and create stickers. This way you can learn to make your own stickers and design them in Silhouette and then take them over and use them in your Cricut machine. For this tutorial, you will actually need to have one of the upgraded versions because you will need to be able to save it as a PNG or an SVG file. The free version will not allow you to do that. So in order to do this week's project, you will need to make sure that you do have that upgraded version. So we will not actually be cutting them today, but if you do need help with the print and cut function in Silhouette, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you. But at the end of us designing, I will go ahead and show the Silhouette machine users a couple of tricks that I've learned along the way. So let's go ahead and get started. Share my screen as always. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up Silhouette. We have our new page. So what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to start designing. So what I like to do is, let's go ahead and grab some. I'll even go through the download functions. So you can see what I'm downloading. So let's go ahead and pick some images. This way we can go through the downloading an image function again in case you've missed it. So one of my favorite places to get images and files is from pixabay.com. This is absolutely free. You do need to sign up for an account to download an image. So let's go ahead and create some butterfly. Let's look for some butterfly images. So the one thing with Pixabay is, if you notice here, you've got images. You've got a drop-down menu, and you've got images, photos, vector files, illustrations. Those are going to probably our categories that we will most likely use. So images is going to be more realistic, and probably as well as photos. So what we're looking for is more of a clip art type of graphic. So I usually recommend illustrations. Vector graphics are great if you're going to use the SVG file. So let's go ahead and select illustrations. I feel with illustrations you get a little bit more choices versus the SVG. So let's see. Let's take this one. Let's take this one, and let's download two of them. Let's see. You know what? Let's do two different ones. We'll do this one, and we'll do this gold-looking one. So we'll go ahead and you'll click on your image, and then it says free download. And then you've got choices here. So I usually choose the smaller version, because the bigger the numbers, the bigger the file is going to come across on your when we download it into Silhouette. So, and sometimes it gets too big, and so trying to size it gets kind of difficult. So you've got a choice of PNG and SVG files. So just keep in mind that when you're downloading these, PNG cannot be altered. So what you see is what you get. So if for some reason you don't like all these colors, I wouldn't recommend downloading the PNG. The SVG file, you will be able to alter those colors. So with this one, I like the way it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit download. It's going to download. And let me go ahead and grab that other gold looking one. Let's grab this one. And let's just download the SVG. Okay. So I'm just going to save these to my desktop really quick. So depending if you're using a Mac or a Windows, depending on where your downloads save, I am just going to save this. Well, we'll just grab it from my downloads because it's not going to let me save it because it's an SVG file. So let's go ahead and move over to Silhouette. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our butterfly that we just downloaded, the colorful one. So what we're going to do is hit File, Merge. And I saved it to my desktop. So here it is. So this wasn't too bad. So let's go ahead and size him down. So at this point, because we like the colors, we like the image, we like everything about it, let's go ahead and just size it. So remember, this is going to be the size of your sticker. How big do you want it? For instance, if you already know that you want this sticker to be 2.5 inches tall, go ahead and click on the little lock up here and select your height and do 2.5 and hit enter, and it'll automatically adjust the width proportionally to 2.5 inches wide. So I like that. Now, what we could do from here is we could fill the sheet up completely with that sticker, or what I like to do is do the little offset. I was trying to find a sticker, but I couldn't find one handy. I want to create a little offset. So when we go to print and cut, you're going to have that little border or outline around our image. So, because sometimes it is difficult to see, I like to take it off onto the gray. And let's go ahead and hit our offset button, which is our little star. And this is where we're going to decide what thickness do we want it. I kind of like that thickness, but for instance, if you wanted maybe less of a border around it, remember we could actually adjust it right here. We could arrow down, or we can move our slider, and that'll adjust our little offset, our border. So let's see. Okay, I think I like that one even better. Let's go ahead and hit apply. And I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. So if you notice right here is our little offset. So if we were to move our butterfly out of the way, we now have this outline of our butterfly. So at this point, we could actually leave it as is, or this way, let's put our butterfly back. We could leave it as is, grab both the outline and your butterfly and hit Control G or Command G because we want to group these together. This way, when your machine cuts, it's actually going to cut a white background. So this way, when it does cut, when your machine does cut, the benefits of doing that is, see how intricate these little lines are right here? This kind of eases the machine, so it's not so jaggedy. It's a little bit more smoother when your machine goes to cut that. I have a sticker. Let me see if I can show you. I have a couple stickers here. So for instance, so if you see, we've created this white. So here's my Texas image. And so see, I created that offset so I could have that white border around it. So it softens all the little jagged edges, and This way it's easier for the machine to cut it. And then if you look at, I have this little avocado, cute little avocado, and I did a little bit thicker border. And as you can see, it's going to just trace an outline. And actually this is a clear sticker. So if I was to pull this back, it's actually a clear backing. It's probably helpful if I would use my glasses. And so that's what we're trying to create here, is we want to create that backing for your sticker. So again, this is a clear sticker. So if I was to put this on something, whatever I adhere it to, it's going to be clear. This one I actually used white sticker paper, so you can actually tell the difference. This one is still nice and vibrant. This one looks a little bit more vibrant because it's on white. But we are trying to create this white border is what we're doing. So we could leave it like that, or we could actually cut it as the white, or sometimes I do this just to jazz up some stickers, is I'm going to go ahead and ungroup it. Let's move our butterfly out of the way. Let's fill this in. Let's fill this in with a corresponding color. So let's go up to our left-hand side, and let's just select a color. Let's, y'all know my purple is my favorite color. So let's do this lavender. So see, we could very well, just because we're using white sticker paper, doesn't mean we have to have that white border. We could pick a different color just to make this pop. So I kind of, you know what? I don't know if I like that. Let's do something. It has a lot of pink in it, so let's try something. Say we wanted to pull one of the colors from this butterfly. Let's select our image, our border. Let's go to our paint palette on the right-hand side. We want to use the eyedropper. Select the eyedropper, and when you start hovering, you can see the different colors changing. I kind of like that. I like that a lot. Now you're probably asking, what is the difference between using the eyedropper there and the eyedropper on the side? Because there's an eyedropper on the left-hand side. So if we were to select the eyedropper on the left-hand side and click our image, our butterfly, say we wanted this blue, it's literally going to mimic the same colors in the butterfly because it doesn't know. So this is why we go to the paint palette on the right-hand side, select our eyedropper, and then you can see it's selecting the different shades. When we scroll over, when we move our mouse, it's going through and picking the different colors. I think I like this one even better. Okay, so let's go ahead and select both images, Control G or Command G in your Mac. Let's go ahead and put our butterfly here. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay. Now we want to optimize the most on our sticker paper. So let's go ahead and go to the left-hand side and go to our replicate. I always forget which one it is. We're going to go to our replicate. So this feature is really handy because it'll let's do a couple of things. Say we had the same sticker. We want to fill the sticker, the page with the, we want to fill the page with the entire sticker. Did you see how it literally just filled everything in by itself? So it evenly spaced it. It did everything for us. But for instance, if we had another sticker, because we're going to bring in that gold sticker, let's take some of these out. And right here, we can duplicate a row. Oops, click on your image. You have to make sure your image is clicked. Click a row. See, it'll tell you, or we can do 2 or 3, or it'll tell us or the column down. Or if you wanted just to do one, we can do one to the right or one to the bottom or above. But remember, you don't want to place your stickers too close together because you still need to have room for the machine to cut. So let's go ahead and just get rid of some of these. Let's bring in that other butterfly that we selected. So let's go File, Merge. We're going to go grab that SVG file. Here. Okay. This one, see how big this one came out? So let's move it back. Okay. I'm going to get rid of that extra butterfly. So if you notice, when I try to move the butterfly, it wasn't grouped because it's an SVG file. It's currently ungrouped. So if I move it, all of the butterfly's dots are not connected. So for instance, if we didn't like the dots on this butterfly, this is the perfect time that we can now change these dots. So for instance, when we start clicking, I'm going to move the black out of the way. I'm going to move this little guy out of the way. And I'm going to focus on these dots for the butterfly. So what I'm going to do, because they are they're individual pieces right now. So I'm going to go ahead and group them together. This may take a while. Okay. This way, they're all together. Say, for instance, I didn't like the gold. I wanted them to be more pink. We can go to our palette and select a pink. The spots are now pink. That's the difference between an SVG and a PNG. The SVG is going to allow you to change it. A PNG is what you see is what you get. You're not able to alter it. For instance, say we did like the kind of ombre look that it was giving. Remember, Silhouette has that function. Say we want to do something like that, something kind of, oh, see, that's really pretty. Now, for instance, we like that. And then we can still change. Say we didn't like the black background. Say we wanted that to be more of a blue. Say we wanted it, blue versus black. And because I grouped them together, because I knew I wanted all the dots to be the same color, you don't have to. For instance, if you wanted to individually, if I go and ungroup all of these, you see all these little boxes. Those are each individual ones. So you would have to go in there and color all of them. If you were to change the color, which is fine, say you had a particular color scheme you wanted to, you could very well do that. You could select this one and you could make it green. You could make these big ones green. You could make, these a different color. It depends on how much editing you wanted to do. But for instance, I was perfectly fine with just changing the entire butterfly to this one color. So that's why I grouped them together. Again, Control G. Of course, it is kind of big, so it is a little bit slow. And we'll just go back. Okay. That. And I still like the blue. So let's go ahead and put all the elements together. So we've now got a completely different butterfly. So then the next thing you want to do is, again, make sure you grab both pieces, and we're going to do a Control G or Command G if you're on a Mac, or you can also do Object and Group. It's going to group them all together. So we now have one butterfly. So again, this is a little bit big for stickers. So I am actually going to kind of move him back over to our page. And I'm actually going to make him a little bit smaller. I think let's do him about 1 inch because I want to show you something. 1 inch, and I'm going to zoom back in. Let's grab this guy. Let's grab this little guy. So because we do want to maximize our space, we could always do the replica and fill the page. Or if you want to, you could do the replica, fill the page, and then we could insert this guy kind of in the middle. And then we could actually replicate him down. And then we can just kind of find little spots for these little butterflies to go. So see, we could find a spot there, because the important thing is we want to maximize our space. Or you can also do a copy and paste on this guy as well. So I'm going to zoom in one more time, because if you noticed, I did not do an offset on this guy. I didn't do an offset because, let me ungroup him. Because this right here is what our machine is going to cut, and it looks fairly smooth to cut. There is a little bit of jagged edges, but we don't want to create another border around that. I just want that simple butterfly. So if I really wanted to, I could actually decrease the dots a little bit. Just a little bit, not a lot, just a smidge. This way, everything is sitting nicely inside our butterfly. So then when it does go to cut, it'll cut nicely here. The only concern I might be leery of might be his little antennas. So if you wanted to, just to thicken them up, you could definitely do the offset on this. So I'm going to group them back together. Oops. I accidentally created a duplicate, so let me let this think. Oh yeah, we're gonna try this again. So it looks like I clicked the offset a couple times, so it's got all these offsets. So we're just gonna cancel this real quick. Okay. On top of me creating a duplicate. Okay, so here's our butterfly. We want to create an offset. So for instance, if we were a little concerned about its little antennas possibly not cutting nicely, we can create a small offset. So with that, I would create my offset as just give it a little bit of thickness and keep it as close to the actual butterfly as we wanted. So let's just go ahead and move this down. It's being a little laggy today. So you're probably saying, oh my gosh, what's going on? Don't worry, trust the process. I'll show you here in just a second. Go ahead and hit apply. Okay. And it cleaned up really nicely. So now that we've got our butterfly, you can see now we do have that border around it. And then we will just do Control G. So if you notice, when we created the offset, it also increased our butterfly. So say we wanted this to be particularly 1 inch, we just go back and change it to 1 inch. And it will resize it. Right here, it shows that it went to 1 inch. So let's go ahead and let's zoom back out to our page. And then we can just put him there. And then we can just sit here and just copy and paste all these other little butterflies. And the nice thing about when you're creating these is that you can actually start rotating them. So you could fit a number of them. So, you know, you want to sticker, sticker paper can be kind of pricey. So you want to get the most out of your paper. So for instance, if we wanted to, let me zoom in a little bit. If you wanted to, we could actually move these up. Just be mindful when you start moving things around that when you do start to cut, you want to make sure that there's enough room between your first sticker and your next sticker that when the machine does cut, you're not going to cut into both stickers. So I would just be very mindful of that. I mean, you could actually, maybe you could fit more if you start doing them this way. You could actually like kind of move them, so they could maybe interlock like that, or actually better yet, maybe interlock this way. And then, maybe have some of the little ones here. So when you're making stickers, just because we do have those replicate buttons and tools, they're nice because then, it will space them out for you. But remember, we do want to utilize as much of this paper as we possibly can. So don't be afraid to go ahead and move them and adjust them to where you see fit. Again, what we want to do is actually design our stickers, save them to an SVG or PNG file, and then send them to your Cricut machine. So my suggestion would definitely make it a SVG file. This way, if you do need to delete some files, when you go to print and cut in your Cricut machine, you still have the capability of doing that, versus a PNG. The way you save it could very possibly be the way it prints and cuts. And depending on how your print and cut settings are in your Cricut machine, you might get some of your images or your stickers cut off. So just be mindful of that as well. So that is really it. You can get really creative. I mean, you can even do this with words. For instance, if we wanted to say, we wanted to make a sticker with a word, for instance. And these are all things that we used in making signs. And then we could just select a font. Let's do this one. And then you definitely would want to create an offset when doing words. So you're probably saying, why do I have two offsets? I accidentally clicked it twice. It's a little laggy for me today. So let's take this one. I'm going to remove the bigger one. I want the smaller one. And then group them together. And now you've got that. Now, one more thing. Let's go. Let's grab our little butterfly here. Let's make him a little bit bigger so we can see him. Let's make him 2 inches. I have done this. I have actually put a word underneath a sticker or across the sticker. So let's go ahead and put some words, a word. Let's just put, we'll just put this. Okay. Let's go ahead, let's grab it. Let's grab an orange. So say we wanted to make our sticker with a word. We can do that. So let's grab these two. Okay, we've centered them together. We want to group them, object, group. So now we have one. Now let's go and do our offset. Offset. This way, when we cut it out, it's going to be one sticker completely versus a butterfly and then a word. Some reason it likes doing duplicates. So here we go. Here is, I'm just going to put this white so we can see it. So now when we go to cut, when you go to cut your sticker, you're going to actually have this one big outline, and it's all going to be together. Remember to group it. This way you have one image. How neat is that? So we've got one big sticker that we can use. It's again, your possibilities are just endless. If you love stickers, if you have planners, this is a great way to make your own stickers for planners. Or just, I know a lot of people sell the stickers. So if you're really creative, you can get really creative and start making your own stickers and possibly selling them, or you can use them for your planners. So again, then you would just want to make sure you do file, save your image, and then the next thing we want to do is, if you're going to use your Cricut machine, you want to save it. I would save it to your hard drive, and then right here we want to either save it as a PNG, SVG or PNG. Again, I would suggest a SVG. This way, if you have any changes in your Cricut machine, you can still adjust it. Versus a PNG, what you see is what you get. Hit OK, and then go and do your print and cut in Cricut. So if you hang tight, I can show you just a couple little things regarding print and cut in Silhouette. And I'm going to just I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I want to make it really simple. Still going to use these stickers right here. Okay. So if you have a Silhouette machine and you're going to make stickers, the first thing you want to do is go to your page settings. Make sure you've got your machine selected. Our media size is the letter size because that's the size of our sticker paper. We want to show our print border. This border right here, that's where the spacing of how big we are allowed to print. The next thing we want to do is go to your last and hit our registration marks. So this is going to tell your machine how to cut. So quick tip, hit advanced options. We can actually adjust our margins. go ahead and slide it all the way, because currently we're at 0.625. We can actually increase that to 0.394, or you can just down arrow all the way. 0.394 is as far as it'll go. So you've now just increased your print function area. So those are the first things you want to do, is make sure you do those things. The next thing is when you're designing, is you need to make sure that you're staying inside this realm of your print registration marks. If you go outside, if you have your sticker and it's like that, it's going to cut this off. So I usually try my very best to kind of line up my first sticker with this little dot, because this is the first thing that the machine is going to read, and then I'll start placing the rest of them. And then this is where this is what I was talking about, kind of strategically placing your stickers, because so what we could do is actually do replicate it and have the machine do it and just fill the page for us. Or not. See how it strategically placed the stickers for us there? Because it knows we're going to do a print and cut. So, and if you notice, this one right here is a little off. What I would do is possibly start rearranging them so you can get the full aspect of it. For instance, if we had this one, a little bit smaller, let's say we had this one maybe at 2 inches, we could actually start placing it. It still wouldn't fit. But see, we could start possibly, if it was small enough to fit into these little areas. So don't be afraid to maneuver them and place them where you need to. Just be mindful that when you do, yes, it might print, but when you go to cut, it's going to cut off. Your sticker's going to get cut off if you're not within these boundaries. So the next thing we want to do is we want to send this to our machine. So, great example. Right now, anything that is outlined in red is going to cut. So if you notice, we've got an outline there and an outline, a red line on the inside. So what's going to happen is when this goes to cut, it's going to cut all of this on the inside. So it's literally going to pop out of your border that you made. We don't want that. So you can click on one or you can highlight all of them. We want to just cut the edge. And I highlighted one on purpose. Can you see the difference between this one and this one? This one is only going to cut this outer part. This sticker is going to cut the outer part and the inner part. You don't want that. Make sure when you go to print or cut, print and cut on your silhouette, you are only cutting the outside. This way, you will then get the border that I was talking about. So go ahead and we can just go ahead and actually select them all and then hit cut edge. And now you're ready to go. Now, the next thing you want is you have to play with your oh my gosh, the pressure and all that. So if you want to kiss cut them, which means it'll print, and then it'll cut them enough that it will, you still have the full sheet of paper, you can peel them off the paper, or do you want them to cut completely through? This way, when you peel off the sticker sheets, you have your stickers completely cut out. So those are a little bit of the options that you want to make sure that you're aware of. And then also, if you're going to use laminate. So I use the laminate to make sure, number one, if it gets wet, your ink isn't going to smear, because I have an inkjet printer, so any water could possibly cause your design to smudge. So I use just a laminate, a self, not the ones that you put through a laminating machine. You very well could. I don't. I just use these sheets that are self-sticking. So what I would do is I would print this. I would take my laminate and be very cautious. I have laminated over this. This is kind of the eye of the of your page, of your project. And sometimes the machine doesn't read that. So if you can, when you laminate, you might want to try and maybe not laminate this part. If you do, just be very cautious, because it can get a little tedious trying to get the machine to read it. I've done it both ways, because sometimes my machine won't read that little black registration mark. So I have put the laminate on top of it and it has read it. And I have actually moved the laminate down a little bit to get it off of that registration mark. Second tip is, when you go to cut, it needs light. So even in daylight, I actually have, let me see if I can get my little lamp here. Let me see if I can bring it over. I actually have this light that I will, see how bright that is? I literally will put it right close to my machine. This way, when that is very bright. When the machine goes to read those registration marks, it has enough light to read it. That's a lot of the problems with it not wanting to do the print and cut, is because it can't see the registration marks. The machine can't read, cannot see the registration marks. You could be in a well-lit room, it could be sunny with the windows open. It still could have, there's a possibility it still can't read it. The best thing, that has helped a lot. Sometimes, depending on where you put the laminate, it'll read, depending on the day, if the machine wants to read it. But putting that light, a lamp, a flashlight, directly on it when you send it to print and cut, to send it to cut, because it's got to read it. It has to read the project. It needs the light. So if you're having problems with that, try a light, try a flashlight, just to get it through. Once the machine reads the page, reads the project, and it starts cutting, you don't need the light anymore. You can turn that off. But the initial reading of the registration marks, it might need that extra light. If you have any questions, if you have any problems with the print and cut in Silhouette, message me, reach out to me in the group. Don't hesitate. I'll be more than happy to help you try and figure out a solution for you to get these stickers cut. If you need help with settings, let me know. I literally have created a couple of settings for laminate for my Kids Cut, and I can help you try and get some settings set up for you. So again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably a little longer than I wanted, but stickers are fun. Stickers are another way, another avenue for making a few bucks. So any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Till next time, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye now.